2 rulers, 2 assassins, 1 berserker, 1 caster, a trap, and finally we get to one of the lancers. I'm surprised it took this long actually. Both are pretty badass characters with some rather OP abilities that made for some seriously gorgeous looking fights. But since they weren't waifu material, or a guy dressed up as waifu material, then I guess they didn't quite ping on your weeboo radars. But after Karna's amazing fight from episode 22, he reached the level of badassery that was enough to beat out Atalanta's beast mode double phantasm. So welcome back ladies and gentlemen to a closer look at the Lancer of Red, aka Karna, the son of the Sun God. As always, let's begin by talking about the Lancer class in general, another one of the 3 knight classes representing the heroic spirit of the lance. They're basically the discount versions of the Saber class, boasting high proficiency in pretty much every area, especially agility and a significant amount of magic resistance. As you'd expect, their weapon of choice is a spear, lance, or pretty much any long-range melee weapon. They put their extreme agility to use by implementing hit and run tactics to get in quick strikes from range, then quickly switching back to the defensive. Other than that, Lancers don't really stand out as being the best or the worst at anything. They're just there to be a formidable opponent. Which might be why both Vlad and Karna managed to stay under the radar for so long in the polls. So let's take the time to put the spotlight on Fate Apocrypha's Lancer of Red right now. The god who has the literal ability to spawn a sun, yet still manages to somehow lose to this. Whatever, I'm over it. Let's just talk about who he was back when he was alive. I'd recommend hunkering down for this one because this might be a long story. As with any person, Karna was brought into this world by his mother. But his mother was married to a king that was cursed to never be able to bear a child. Being a queen, it was her duty to give birth to an heir, so other ways of birthing children were researched. After a bit of time, a sage had given her the ability to have a child gifted to her if she asked. All she had to do was just ask any of the 303 million gods to give her one. Curious as to how her newfound powers worked, she asked the sun god Surya to give her a child, and so he did. He presented to her a baby named Karna, who was clothed with golden armor and earrings as proof he was the son of a god. Oh, and this armor happened to make him invulnerable, but that's not really important right now. The king didn't know of this ability yet, so her having this baby without his knowledge may not have been received very well. So what does any good mother in a legend do to a child when they don't want them? They leave them in a basket by the river. I don't know what it is, but there's something about rivers and babies that seems to be quite a reoccurring theme in some of these stories. But anyway, it was because of this that Karna was raised by a different family of a much lower class. He still knew that he was the son of a god and that his mother had abandoned him, but he didn't resent her for it. It was more of a feeling of disappointment that things had to turn out this way. It was also because he wasn't raised by his mother that he wasn't able to learn proper human emotion. He just lived his days observing the motions of the lower class, all while just accepting it. It was through this that he decided to live in a way that honored the people who brought him up, and the god that created him. So now we get to a teenage version of Karna, who had been training in martial arts for some time now. During this time, a tournament was being held to display the power of the Pandava brothers, 5 princes born from Karna's same mother, each from a different god. There was a moment during this tournament that an opportunity arose for someone from the crowd to present their skills. Karna, of course, rose to this challenge and was able to perform some of the feats better than any of the princes, including the 3rd prince named Arjuna. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong, but just bear with me because I have to say his name a lot more. But anyways, he was the son of the thunder god Indra, and at the time, he was considered to be the most skilled archer. Karna proceeded to challenge this prince to a duel, but since they were not of equal status, he was denied and made a fool of for even attempting. Through all this mockery, a prince from a different family saw retribution in Karna and took him in and made him a king at his palace. He saved Karna from the disgrace of being known as someone who doesn't know their place in the world. But being named a king didn't save him from the ridicule because it was later found out that he was raised by a lowly charioteer. The Pandava brothers would not leave that fact alone and would constantly ridicule him and his father for being born of such low status. A rivalry began between the 6 of them, but more importantly, between Karna and Arjuna. Karna belonged to the Kauravas family, a royal family whose influence rivaled that of the currently leading power of the Pandavas. And as the relationships between the Kauravas and the Pandavas grew worse, so did the rivalry between Karna and the brothers. Eventually, a war called the Mahabharata War broke out in a battle to control the other's territory. Now, with Karna leading the army, there was no one other than Arjuna who could possibly stand against him on the battlefield, especially with that armor that made him invincible. But even Arjuna knew that trying to fight Karna would lead to certain death. Now, Karna's mother, who was always on the side of the Pandavas, witnessed many of the battles between the two armies. But she knew that no one would be able to stop Karna, so she came up with a plan to reveal Karna's royal lineage to him in hopes that he would switch sides. Karna did not decline the offer, but instead posed a question to his mother that questioned the timing of her revelation. He pretty much said that if she could accept the past without feeling any shame, then he would oblige. But his mother knew she acted for her own sake, and as such, she couldn't accept her actions as reasonable, so left the negotiations without another word. Before she could leave, out of respect for his mother and her actions, Karna mentioned that he would not fight any of his half-brothers on the battlefield other than Arjuna. The many ensuing battles were won by Karna and his armies, and he had plenty of times to kill the Pandavas brothers, but he remained true to his words, allowing them to flee each time and fight another day. As the final battle drew near, the god of thunder took the form of a Hindu priest in order to get close enough to Karna to steal his golden armor. Now remember, this armor made him invincible, so losing the ability to not die is kind of shitty when you have to go fight a war the next day. Karna, being the badass he is, didn't even care and still set foot in that battlefield, so not to bring shame to his own father. He even went as far as to approach Indra and praise him for being a step ahead and a caring father to his son. Indra, out of admiration and respect for Karna, presented Karna with his spear, a gift that Arjuna wasn't even worthy of, and with that, he proceeded to his final battle with Arjuna. It was a grand battle fought with two chariots that was so intense that even the heavens opened up so that all the gods and deities can witness two of the greatest warriors fight. But during this, Karna's chariot wheel became stuck in the mud due to a curse that he received as a child. Karna requested a pause of the fight since it was proper war etiquette to fight fairly and on even terms. Arjuna was persuaded by Krishna, one of the supreme Hindu gods, to attack Karna while he was defenseless. Karna saw this coming and defended himself and retaliated with an attack of his own that left his opponent unconscious. But instead of killing Arjuna, which was against proper etiquette, he used that time to get his chariot wheel unstuck. As Arjuna recovered from his wounds, he drew his bow once more and decapitated the defenseless Karna. Karna didn't hate his half-brother for this, but instead accepted his death and moved on into the afterlife. It was after this that he became known as the hero of generosity, for never bearing resentment to anyone and always helping those who relied on him for it, which is a good explanation for Karna's compassion in the later episodes of the series. It sure as hell shocked me when I heard Karna mention that he wanted to save his master. Definitely not something that you'd expect out of someone that's constantly being compared to Gilgamesh. But yeah, that's pretty much Karna's story. Like, the very summarized version of it. I had to leave out the parts where he got trained and cursed, and even the parts where he took on a worldwide military campaign and succeeded with conquering the world. But if I did, then I'd have to talk about a whole lot more than just Karna's main story. Like, I'd have to give you a background on different people, a whole lot of Hindu culture, and then that would just be straying away from the purpose of the video. Now, I was gonna cover his abilities and noble phantasms too in this episode, but I think I'll do that in the next one, which should be out really soon. I promise it won't be a week later like last time. I'm on break, and I plan on releasing a lot of content before I have to go back to work. So yeah, I'll be seeing you guys again really soon. So until next time, ciao!